up, Grayson Report? Happy Monday. How's everyone doing? What is up? Tammy, Matthew, Delia Lux, Carol, D Nice, Nerd Report, Julissa, Wendy, you're not late. You're right on time. How's everyone doing? We'll wait a few minutes for people to trickle in. And how was your weekend while we wait? Nerd Report goes, Jack the Ripper always scared me. There's so many with Jack the Ripper. I know I talked about him in a previous stream, but there's so many, what do you call it? The theories about him and who he was. That he should have been a doctor, or definitely a doctor because of how they found his victims, obviously. But let me find, I was going to share something. Hold on. While we wait. But I can't find the article. Give me a second, guys. Well, I'll start off with this. I'll start off with this one. This one's a little, well, I mean, what I'm talking about is kind of Wendy goes doctor wannabe, but psychotic for sure. We'll start off with some recent news here. The Menendez brothers resentencing back. Judge, where the heck is that coming from? Darn ads. The Menendez brothers resentencing pushed back. Judge eyes late January. As you know, Gascon was voted out as LA District Attorney. We are getting a new one. I forgot his name. I think his name is Nathan. Or the one we have now is Gascon. The one we're getting, I think, is Nathan. Nathan Hotchman. I knew that Gascon was going to stay in office for too long because he is considered super soft. Ever since he got into office, it seems like crime has gone up, but I think it's not just here, it's everywhere. I think it's more of the sign of the times, but Gascon was known as a, he would give everyone a chance, and he was kind of soft. But I'm not sure how Nathan is going to be as a district attorney, but I'm pretty sure that's the reason why he won, because of how Gascon is. A California judge has delayed the highly anticipated resentencing hearing of Eric and Joseph Lyle Menendez, two Beverly Hills brothers serving life without parole for the 89 Pew Pew murders of their parents. Outgoing LA District Attorney Gascon asked the court to reduce their sentences less than 2 weeks before Election Day. Then he lost to independent candidate Nathan Hotchman, who takes office on December 2nd. So next week, basically. Next. Because this is the last week. I can't believe this is the last week of November. It's crazy. Next Monday, Judge Michael Jessic said he likely would be ready for the previously scheduled December 11th hearing, and said he would push it back to late January out of respect for the new administration after both sides agree. I kind of figured that was the reasoning because of the changing of the hands. It would give Nathan some time to review the case. Defense attorney Mark Garrigo said he expects the hearing to take more than a day in court. Judge Jessic scheduled the hearing's new date for January 30th and said any filings to change the date again are due by the 17th. Due to technical glitch, the brothers did not appear virtually expected. Garrigos waived their right to appear while the court addressed scheduling. Two witnesses were still expected to testify Monday due to health concerns, including the brothers' 93-year-old aunt Joan Anderson Vandermolen, who is their mother's sister. Mary Kitty Menendez was sitting alongside her husband Jose. I mean, we all know the story pretty much. Her husband Jose, when the brothers barged into their living room and pew-pewed them from behind while they were eating ice cream and watching TV. Jose died quickly, but the brothers had to go outside and get more ammunition to finish off their mother. I think they became, when the Eric Menendez story on monsters premiered on Netflix, this kind of hype around this story came along, and I think this is kind of where this resentencing is coming from. It is my opinion, guys. I don't know if this is what it is, but I think that's where this is coming from. The brothers later claimed self-defense, arguing they were afraid their father would kill them because they planned to expose him as a child SA. While 24 relatives have sided with the brothers in their quest for reduced sentences, Kitty and Vandermolen's brother, Milton Anderson, remains vehemently opposed to their release. It's Milton Anderson's continued belief that the claims of M were made up and they were false, and he believes that the correct verdict was issued by the jury and the correct sentence was also committed. His attorney, Kathleen Caddy, told Fox News Digital. Hotchman, a moderate who rejected Gascon's soft-on-crime approach to running the DA's office, has pledged to thoroughly review the case before taking a stance on whether he will continue with the resentencing push begun by his predecessor. A separate habeas corpus petition is also making its way through the court, which would be an additional path to freedom if successful. Their petition is based on newly emerged evidence in support of their allegations of CA against their father, a corroborating letter of unconfirmed origin, and the word of Roy Rossello, a former Menudo member who said he too had been abused by Jose Menendez as a child. Governor Gavin Newsom also declined. I call him Newscum. Also declined to grant a clemency petition for the brothers, at least for now, stating he would defer to Hotchman's pending review of the case before making a decision. And we will know further when we get closer to the case. Like I've said previously, I've been in between this case, because it does suck that, yeah, if their allegations are true, that does suck. No one deserves that. But at the same time, it's a one-sided story. I can't make a decision on just one-sided. I mean, yeah, there was a letter written, but still, it's still kind of up in the air for me with that one. Is 35 years is enough for them? I don't know. It could be. Not saying that a criminal can get rehabilitated. There's many of them that have. There's some that are always just going to remain in prison no matter what, because that's just how they are. Because coming out of prison for some people is a scary place, because once you're out of prison, now you got bills. You've got to worry about a roof over your head. You got to worry about food. While in prison, it's like you're organized in a way. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but you get meals, you have a roof over your head, don't have to worry about bills, or any of that. So sometimes getting out of that, I guess, restricted kind of discipline, is scary for some people. And also too, if you were into drugs or anything like that, I would think going outside back into where you were doing all those bad things in the first place could re-enter you into that. So it is scary. And thank you for being a member of the Wolfpack for 19 months. Hearts for Ann. Love your channel. Thank you, Ann. But we will find more. I guess, like I said earlier, Nathan needs to look over the case. Newscum. I can't even say his name right, but he's not overstepping. He's allowing the new district attorney to, which I think is a cool thing. He's not overstepping, so that's kind of cool. Like, he's giving the new DA his time and space. But we will find out in January about them. I'm going to wait a few more minutes for people to trickle in before we get into Jack the Ripper. But, you know my stance on horror remakes. I feel like there's no originality nowadays, even with music. I've noticed a lot of electronic music, they're remaking hits from the 90s. I'm like, what happened to originality? You know what I mean? That's what I want to hear. I want to hear a new original track, or I want to see a original horror movie that wows me, type of thing. But I guess there are 7 remakes that are coming out that were announced, but we're waiting for. Divisiveness is just a part of the movie business, and if you're going to remake a popular movie or do an adaptation, you're going to get some guff from fans. Of course, I want to see some, like I said, I want to see some originality. I get it. They're trying to bring the older films to this generation, but heck, if you had parents that were into these movies, they're already introducing their kids to those movies, if you know what I mean. So even sequels to popular films have to go through the court of public opinion. We are still mad at David Gordon Green's mishandling of the Exorcist franchise. However, as long as there are movies, there will be remakes, unfortunately. Same thing with the music industry. While it's fun to see a different director's take on the script, some people don't think a remake is necessary. Take Spielberg's Jaws, for instance. No one will redo it, but if you think about it, even films that came after it is basically a remake. We don't need to seethe at an underwhelming direct one. Below, we have listed some remakes and new adaptations that are either in the works or have been announced. If some of the titles make you mad, you're not alone. Fans would rather keep their sacred movies, even bad ones, true, very true, as they are. Keep in mind, there are very few remakes that make improvements to the original, very true. And then thank you, Anne, for gifting 5 memberships. Welcome, Robin, Angel, Dan, Pocket Reality, Natasha Richardson, to the Wolfpack. Hearts for Anne and all the new Wolfpack members. Thank you, Anne. I appreciate that. Matthew saying Ryan Reynolds is supposedly to be doing Mighty Mouse. Ryan, my thing about Ryan Reynolds, when you see Ryan Reynolds in a movie, he plays, I don't know if this is just me or if you guys see this, I feel like he plays the same character. It seems like that to me. I don't know if you guys see that. Like, he's the same type of character. So it's like, oh, that's Ryan Reynolds. I know. I don't know if you guys see that. Thank you. D Nice. He just plays the same person. That's what it seems like to me. And I didn't know if I was the only one. But even Deadpool is like another is like another character he had played in another movie, type of thing. So Chrissy Twig says typecast. Matt, that's true. Oh, wait a minute. He was also Ryan Reynolds, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was also in Hellraiser. He was in the I don't even know which one. It's after 4. Once you go after 4 with Hellraiser, it goes downhill. I think he was in the 7th one. I'm probably totally off. But he didn't play the same character in that. I don't remember him in the X-Files, and I was a huge X-Files fan. It's been a while. I want to say it was like when it was the 7th one, the 6th or 7th Hellraiser he was in too. And he was at the very beginning of the movie and he dies. But I feel like him playing Mighty Mouse is just going to be Deadpool Mighty Mouse. What's up, Chris? How's it going? So the first one is The Blob. I think The Blob, if I'm not mistaken, I do remember growing up watching The Blob, probably one of my favorite movies as a kid. I think there was a Blob before the one that I saw too as well in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. It was announced, and then when I saw Rob Zombie's name to this, I was like, no! It was announced in early 2024 that a remake of this classic monster movie was in the works by Rob Zombie. He left the project, but that didn't mean it was dead. David Bruckner, Hellraiser 2022, that's another no, was brought on board. There's no word on where the film is in development. I mean, Rob Zombie did a Netflix film about the monsters. Believe it or not, I had very low expectations and it wasn't that bad. But his Halloween vision wasn't the greatest. He also did the Witch of Salem or something like that, and I was like, what the heck? Hellraiser 2022, if you missed it, I think it's still on Hulu if I'm not mistaken. It does have Pinhead as a female Pinhead, but in the book, Pinhead was female. I was open to the idea, totally open to it, watched it, did not like any of the costumes because they really did look like costumes to me from like Spirit Halloween. I didn't like it. It didn't have that edginess. It didn't have that I guess S&M appeal, because the Hellraiser kind of had that black leather getup type of thing where the newer one didn't. And there wasn't, I don't know, there's something missing with it. I wasn't scared of the Cenobites in the newer Hellraiser. I mean, with the original Hellraiser, it was like, oh my God, what are these things? Like, but the newer ones, I was not even scared. I like the design, the concepts of them were cool, but there was no scare factor to them. But then again, I don't watch horror movies to get scared, but still there should be some like edginess to the characters, and I felt like there wasn't any in those. They're making another Carrie? No. There's probably no one better to helm a remake or adaptation of a Stephen King work other than Mike Flanagan. He has proven himself time and time again that he is able to do it, but Carrie, Brian De Palma's original, is nearly perfect. Still, this is one of those rare times when we want to see another interpretation of the novel since Flanagan created so many masterpieces himself. No. I think there was a newer Carrie. I didn't mind that one. It actually wasn't that bad. But don't mess with the originals. Keep Sissy Spacek as Carrie, please. Yes, please. Wendy goes, did you read the books? No, I didn't. Wendy, I did not read Stephen King books because when I was younger, I wasn't much of a book reader. I didn't find my love in books until I was older. So when I was younger and I saw a book I do have some of his books though. But I haven't read them. When I was younger and I saw a book this thick, I was like, no way. Now it'd be different. I would probably read them now. I think the only book I read was it was a short story. I mean, short story for him because it was like that thick. And it was about amusement park and I enjoyed it. But no, I have not read any of his books, and I'm sure I have like, what do I have at home? I have Bag of Bones, Pet Cemetery, Christine. I think I have a few others, but I can't remember off the top of my head, but I have not read them. The People Under the Stairs, no. This might be the only one on the list that needs a remake. Jordan Peele is produced. No, not Jordan Peele. You didn't hear this from me, but Jordan Peele is overrated. I feel like he's overrated. He popped up everywhere after, what is it, Get Out? I didn't feel like Get Out was anything special, but everyone made a big deal about it. I did like Us was okay, but wasn't the greatest. I did like what was that one with the aliens? I can't think of it. Nope. Nope was actually pretty good. But no. Wes Craven's 1991 original was an off-the-rails effort that didn't get the same love as his A Nightmare on Elm Street, but it remains a cult classic. I think I've only seen this film once. I will have to revisit it. I don't remember it. Rooster, what's up? What's up, Kyle? Matthew goes, the 2013 Carrie was wanting to do the book, but was cut down to be like the original film. D Nice goes, no more Carrie, stop it. I think we had enough Carries. Night of the Comet, where George Romero used a zombie apocalypse as commentary on American consumerism in 1979's Dawn of the Dead. Night of the Comet did it for the mid 80s. I don't think I've ever seen this one. This was a sleeper hit in 84 and it's still solid, but it might be interesting to see a modern take on the subject if we were ever to see it come to fruition. It's been proposed with Orion Pictures behind it, but nothing has been said since 2018. Urban legend. I do know, I think I said they are making they're remaking what did you do last summer? I had to think about it. What was it? So I wouldn't be surprised if they brought some of these 90s, mid 90s movies that I grew up with. They were kind of, I don't know, they were kind of like, they weren't scary, but they were kind of like the teeny bopper. I don't know, I want to call them teeny bopper horror. The pitch for a remake was put out there in 2020 with Colin Minihan, Grave Encounters, slated to direct, but it was scraped perhaps due to the pandemic or the studio losing interest, and there has been no updates. This one might be a fun remake to do. We are hoping the studio regains interest. I mean, Urban Legends is like an open-ended book, so there's so many things you could do with Urban Legends. There's so many Urban Legends out there. So I mean, I'm up for that one if they do decide. No, not Christine. No. They're not touching Christine. Oh hell no. Back. No. Leave Christine alone. Beck, I know, as I have tears in my eyes, leave Christine alone. Back in 2021, it was announced that Brian Fuller, Star Trek Discovery, was getting behind the wheel of this adaptation. Even Blumhouse was interested. Since then, nothing has moved forward, but it might be time to see this Plymouth Fury back in theaters. Hell no. No. An American Werewolf in London. I know I've said this before. I need to revisit this film because when I was younger, I didn't really like the comical kind of horror. And I didn't really like this film because I didn't like The Evil Dead, and then I revisited The Evil Dead when Ash versus Evil Dead came out, and I ended up becoming obsessed. So this has been on my list. I need to revisit this. I don't want them to remake this one either. 5 years ago, it was reported that this John Landis classic was getting a reboot. See, the problem is they use practical effects in these. So if they do remake them, they need to use practical effects. They cannot be using CGI because it just, I feel like CGI will destroy like the essence of this film, even if it is a remake. Dexter Fletcher, The Walking Dead, was tapped to produce, but as of yet, there hasn't been any word on its progress. Unless they use practical effects, this one isn't worth it. Exactly. They read my mind. Fans will go ballistic if they see a CGI transformation in a movie known for its expert practical effects. Exactly. There are a lot of movies on there I do not want to see a remake for. Maybe Urban Legend, because I feel like I said, that's an open book. There's so many urban legends that you can go off of. You wouldn't really need to remake it from the first one. You could go do different legends. There's so many. Lise, what is up? I've been listening but couldn't type until now. Ryan Reynolds is in a movie called Life. It's awesome, and it's a different type of role for him. Ooh, I may have to check that out. Matthew goes, Christine has been talked about for over a decade. Richard Kobritz has the rights, and he has never confirmed such a remake is happening. I hope not. It's my favorite line in Scream. Don't F with the original. And exactly, do not. Delia goes, I like the first Werewolf of London. Wendy, the only reason why I got Hulu, because of a Black Friday sale. So maybe if you wait, I don't know if they're going to do the same thing this year, but look out for the Black Friday sales because I got $1 a month for a year, last year for Hulu. So if they have some good Black Friday sales, that's when you want to jump on to some of these and check out these other streaming services. I mean, essentially, Hulu is owned by Disney, so you would get Disney type, like Fox films that are produced by Fox because now Fox is owned by Disney. Oh, oops, I clicked on the wrong article. Oh my God. That's because I put the wrong link. Hold on, guys. Let me get my next. Yeah, Hulu's an add-on for Disney if you have Disney Plus, but it is owned by Disney, if that makes any sense. So, now that I got it pulled up. So Jack the Ripper, we've spoke about him before here at Grayson Report. But now they have the letters that describe his crimes in gruesome detail. He's probably one of the well-known serial killers. A gruesome serial killer, that. There's many theories of who he is. I think they even named who it is. I still think it's up in the air. I don't think the people that they think he is him. I think it's still up in the air. I think he'll remain a mystery, to be honest with you. I don't think we're ever going to really know who he was exactly, except for the man himself. During Jack the Ripper's infamous crime spree in the autumn of 1888, the killer purportedly sent grisly letters to various journalists and officials taunting them about his murders, and one even included a human kidney. I am not there. This is a picture of a postcard that contained one of Jack the Ripper's letters, seemingly smeared with blood. Oh, I could show this. This isn't that bad. After murdering at least 5 women in 1888, Jack the Ripper seemed to disappear without a trace. He left few clues behind. Investigators have spent more than a century puzzling over his identity, but Jack the Ripper did allegedly send several macabre messages during his murder spree. Jack the Ripper's letters offer a tantalizing look at the killer's voice, handwriting, and motivations. Julissa goes, he's definitely gone now, for sure. That's what I'm saying. I don't think we'll ever know because of how long ago it happened. So the only person that knows is him, the person himself, and he is gone. And I feel like, I mean, obviously in death, he faced his judgment then. Lisa Bu goes, I've always been fascinated with Jack the Ripper, same as I have been as well. In fact, the London police received hundreds of letters claiming to come from Jack the Ripper. Many of these were easily dismissed as hoax, but others were more convincing. These include missives known as the Dear Boss letter, the Saucy Jackie postcard, the From Hell letters, and others. The correspondence contained references that only the true murderer should have known, though it's possible the messages came from journalists who had the inside scoop on the serial killer's crimes. What's more, one of the letters was sent alongside a real human kidney, that matched the profile of one of Jack the Ripper's victims. Still, the origin of Jack the Ripper's letters have never been proven. That is pretty I can't think of the word, but to send a kidney with one of your letters, that's being pretty, like, feeling like he's invincible type of thing. But then back then they didn't have the technology like we do now. Below, discover the stories behind some of the criminals' best known letters and see why they ultimately contain more questions than answers. Carol, yes, but his ghost could be around. Exactly. Dear boss, I mean, if I ever get a chance to go to London, I definitely want to go on. I believe there are tours, Jack the Ripper tours, so I would love to go on one of those tours. Dear boss, the first of the Jack the Ripper letters. By the end of September of 1888, the London district of Whitechapel was gripped by panic. 2 local women, Mary Ann Nichols and Annie Chapman, had been brutally murdered by an unknown assailant. Though Whitechapel could be a dangerous place, especially for S workers like Nichols and Chapman, their murders struck the police as especially alarming. I don't know why. I'm guessing that I don't know why he would pick S workers, but I'm guessing because maybe S workers aren't, I mean, obviously they knew who they were because they have their names, but I was thinking maybe like back in the time that the S workers were more, like people overlooked them. Like they weren't as, important, if that's the word is that I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking. Then, on September 27th of 1888, the Central News Agency received a letter that claimed to come from the killer himself, referencing a one-time suspect, a man named John Pizer, who is known as Leather Apron. It reads, Dear boss, I keep on hearing the police have caught me, but they won't fix me just yet. I've laughed when they look so clever and talk about being on the right track. That joke about Leather Apron gave me real fits. I am down on WHORES, and I shan't quit ripping them till I do get buckled. Grand work the last job was. I gave the lady no time to squeal. How can they catch me now? I love my work and want to start again. You will soon hear of me with my funny little games. I saved some of the proper red stuff in a ginger beer bottle over the last job to write with, but it went thick like glue and I can't use it. Red ink is fit enough, I hope. Ha ha. The next job I do, I shall clip the lady's ears off and send to the police officers just for jolly, wouldn't you? Keep this letter back till I do a bit more work, then give it out straight. My knife's so nice and sharp, I want to get to work right away. If I get a chance, good luck. Yours truly, Jack the Ripper. Don't mind me giving the trade name. P.S. Wasn't good enough to post this before. I got all the red ink off my hands. Curse it. No luck yet. They say I'm a doctor now. Ha ha. So this is the letter that I just read, a picture of it. The guy is very clever. Very clever. It's kind of having that FU tone. Like, you guys think I'm what? With that, Nichols and Chapman killer had a name, Jack the Ripper. At first, however, police believed that Jack the Ripper's letter was a hoax. Then more women were murdered. Hug, what is up? Chris Barber goes, he claimed that he ate the other kidney. No. Wendigo sounds like favorite or oh wait, yeah. Silence of the Lambs, right, Wendy? The saucy jacket. Oh my God. Jackie postcard and the murders of Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes. Just 3 days after police received the Dear Boss letter, Jack the Ripper took 2 more victims. Early in the morning of September 30th, 1988, Elizabeth Stride was found with her throat cut in Dutfield's yard. Just 45 minutes later, Jack the Ripper's 4th victim, Catherine Eddowes, was discovered brutally murdered and mutilated in Mittree Square. Edo's murder was gruesome. Her killer, I don't want to show that picture, had cut her throat, disemboweled her, taking her left kidney and removing most of her womb and mutilated her cheeks, eyelids, and nose. Significantly, her killer had also cut off a part of her earlobe, which is what Jack the Ripper had threatened to do when he said he'd clip the lady's ears off in the Dear Boss letter, which kind of shows that the person that wrote the letter is indeed the same person that killed these two women. Suddenly, that Jack the Ripper letter seemed a lot more authentic, and the following day, another one arrived. This one, known as the Saucy Jackie postcard, was received by the Central News Agency on October 1st of 1888, seemingly smeared with blood. It read, "I was not coding dear old boss when I gave you the tip. You'll hear about Saucy Jackie's work tomorrow. Double event this time. Number one squealed a bit. Couldn't finish straight off. Ha! Not the time to get ears for police. Thanks for keeping last letter back till I got to work again. Jack the Ripper." So here's a picture of that letter. Allegedly, I believe it was smeared with blood. The letter struck the police as authentic for several reasons. With the line, "not the time to get ears for police," it referenced the first Jack the Ripper letter, which had not been made public. It also referred to a double event, and Stride and Eddowes had been killed less than an hour apart. Plus, the handwriting appeared similar between the two letters, and a 2018 study found that the two messages were likely written by the same person. Though it was possible that the Saucy Jackie postcard was quickly written by someone who had read about the Stride Eddowes murders in the newspaper early that morning, the police decided to publish both Jack the Ripper's letters to see if anyone recognized the handwriting. However, the most gruesome Jack the Ripper letter was yet to come. From hell, the Jack the Ripper letter sent with a piece of kidney. From hell, is that the Johnny Depp one? Because I didn't see that one. Okay, it is. I did not see that one because it is loosely based on it. 2 weeks after the Saucy Jackie postcard, George Lusk, a Whitechapel local who had formed the Whitechapel Vigilant Committee, received yet another Jack the Ripper letter on October 16th, dubbed the From Hell letter. It read, "From hell, Mr. Lux, sore, I send you half the kidney." I don't know if that's supposed to be sorry because it says sore. "I send you half the kidney I took from one woman, preserved it for you." The guy doesn't know how to spell. Yes, this guy does not know how to spell because he goes, "I send you half the kidney," without the Y, "I took from one woman, preserved," he spelled it Prasarved, "it for you, together pieced, Toter, I fried and ate, it was very nice, Nise. I may send you the bloody knife without the E that took it out if you only wait," he spelled it Wate, "a while," without the E, longer, signed, "Catch me when you can, Mr. Lux." And he spelled Mr. wrong as well. And here is what that letter looks like. It's so cool how the writing went, because they used quills back then, and I always when I see writing from back then, it's super cool. But that wasn't all. The From Hell letter was sent with half a human kidney. Dr. Thomas Openshaw, who examined the organ, believed that it had come from a woman around the age of 45 who had suffered from Bright's disease, which could result from heavy drinking. Catherine Eddowes, whose killer had taken one of her kidneys, was 46 years old and an alcoholic. The From Hell missive was one of the most alarming of the Jack the Ripper letters, but it is also among the last. On November 8th, 1888, Jack the Ripper took his final victim, Mary Jane Kelly. Kelly's murder was the most brutal of them all. She was mutilated and cut to pieces, and her killer had strewn her body parts around her room. I am not going to show that picture because that is an actual picture of her. I am not going to show it. But then the killer seemingly disappeared completely. So who was Jack the Ripper? Those suspects have emerged over the years, including Polish barber Aaron Kosmiski and cotton merchant James Maybrick, Jack the Ripper left very few clues behind. Perhaps the best indication of his identity and motives are his letters, but are the Jack the Ripper letters real? Over the course of the Jack the Ripper murders, the police received hundreds of letters, perhaps as many as 700, that claimed to be from the killer. Some of these were easily dismissed as hoaxes, and some of their authors were even arrested. In mid-October of 1888, for example, a young woman named Maria Coroner was arrested for writing a Jack the Ripper letter, which read in part, "Perhaps you would like my portrait, but you see I am in deep mourning for those ladies that I put to sleep and do not wish to have one taken." However, other messages, including the Dear Boss letter, the Saucy Jackie postcard, and the From Hell letter, seem to be legitimate. Indeed, modern-day studies found that Dear Boss, Saucy Jackie, and a third letter known as Mobe and Midian were likely written by the same person, but was the person Jack the Ripper? Today, the Jack the Ripper letters remain a subject of debate. They may have been written by a central news agency employee named Thomas Bulling, or perhaps a journalist named Fred Best. In 1931, Best allegedly confessed to writing Dear Boss and Saucy Jackie in order to attract more newspaper readers and keep the business alive. But if some of the Jack the Ripper letters are legitimate, then they're the best clue to his identity. Long after the killer's reign of terror, his words continue to shine through the ages, red as blood and as savage as ever. So, guys, do you believe those letters were written by Jack the Ripper? Or do you think it was by someone in the news business? I feel like, nowadays with an investigation, they don't reveal too much information. So I would, if it was nowadays, I would definitely say yes, it was by the actual killer. Back then, it's kind of saying that the news person might have written it. And I'm thinking, so back then, did they know the details right away? But then the letter also described the murder exactly how it was. But that's what I'm wondering, if the news back then got the information right away as when the police did. Shelly, how's it going? Julissa believes it was Jack the Ripper. Wendy goes, I wouldn't put it past today's reporters. I agree, because you got those tabloid sites. I take a lot of those tabloid sites with a grain of salt, but they would have definitely done something like that nowadays. Too. Especially when they're trying to get that story. But back then, I don't know how the investigation worked. Maybe you had your news crew there as the police were investigating. I know things weren't as secure as they are now. I mean, obviously, when there's a crime scene, they block it off. I doubt they did that back then. Because back then they didn't have the technology we have now. Like, we can get DNA, we could get, a DNA workup, we could get fingerprints, we could do all kinds of things. Carol goes, the news back then was more graphic than today. So, I'm kind of 50-50 with it, but then again, those letters really knew every detail. And I noticed too, back then too, the news articles, they also would say Mr. Clemington at 234 Eastwood Street was found dead while he was eating coffee, or while he was drinking coffee and having his morning piece of toast. That's kind of how the articles were, because I've read a few and I'm like, oh my God, they actually told people where you lived in the newspapers. They would not ever do that nowadays. Wendy goes, if you have no original ideas, scrape of others, but give props to your sources. Exactly. I agree. But you never know, that news journalist could have just said it just for attention too. Matthew goes, morning of having tea and crumpets. Exactly. But I don't know. I want to believe that it is from Jack the Ripper because of the detail. But then again, if they are claiming that news reporter knew it, and I'm assuming, I don't know exactly how the news worked back then, if they were allowed to just automatically be at the scene with the, standing next to the investigators, and that's how they got their information, then I would be like, okay, then yeah, it could be a dupe. But I'm open to it. I'm open. Carol goes, my grandfather on my mom's side owned and published a newspaper in Connecticut. My uncle has most of the editions that were printed. That is super cool, Carol. So, Carol goes, my mom's birth made the front page. Oh my God, that is so cool. That is super cool. So my next story, I thought was kind of weird. I was like, Ebenezer Scrooge had a tombstone. Vandal smashes Ebenezer Scrooge's tombstone used in a Christmas Carol movie. If life imitate art, a vandal may be haunted by the ghosts of Christmas yet to come for smashing a tombstone that marked the fictional grave of Ebenezer Scrooge in the English countryside. Police in Shrewsbury are investigating how the grave marker, in place for 40 years after being used as a movie prop in A Christmas Carol, was destroyed. That sucks. The 1984 film, one of dozens of adaptations of the Charles Dickens classic, starred George C. Scott as the cold-hearted curmudgeon. After going to sleep on Christmas Eve, Scrooge is visited by the ghost of past, present, and future, and shown the error of his ways to become a kinder, more generous person. The future ghost shows Scrooge what will become of his life if he doesn't change. He eventually led to a cemetery where the ghost brushes snow from a gravestone that reveals his name. Scrooge, distraught by all he's seen, vows to turn his life around. After filming, the stone was kept in place on the grounds of St. Chad's Church, where it had become a tourist attraction, particularly at Christmas. West Mercia police said the stone was vandalized sometime between Thursday and Sunday. Photos show it broken in several pieces. So the photo up here, that sucks. I mean, that's kind of a cool thing to go visit. Like, even if it is a movie prop, to take a picture by it, and some douchebag decided to do this. And yes, I said douchebag. You can't have anything nice nowadays because people don't appreciate things. And this has been there for a very long time, so that sucks. And it's kind of cool that they kept it there too as well. Nerd report goes, Christine sucked. Shelly goes, well, that wasn't very nice of them to do that. No, it wasn't. Matthew goes, Irish cop accent. Sure, you actually think that, Lewis? Sure you do. Can't do it. Sometimes I could do it. Sometimes I could do an Irish accent. I don't think it came out right that time. Carol goes, that's the one I remember most. Watched it every Christmas Eve after church at my grandma's house. I watched that one all the time too as well growing up, and A Christmas Story. Christmas Story is a classic. And then you had Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. Nerd Report's asking, has anyone ever seen Maniac Cop? It's actually not that bad. I think we watched it over the summer, and I watched 1 and 2 because I was like, wait a minute, I've never seen Maniac Cop. I've only seen bits and pieces of it. And it's not that bad. I mean, obviously, I think it's an 80s. Is it 80s movie? Late 80s, because I was going to say early 90s. Meaning the second one was 90. Because I was like, wait a minute, is it early 90s or late 80s? So late 80s, late 80s, early 90s. And then also too with the Peanuts. Oh, I miss watching the Peanuts with Snoopy and the gang. Matthew goes, it's on Tubi. It's on Tubi and Peacock for those. Tubi, if you guys don't know what Tubi is, it's a free movie app. It doesn't just have movies, it like regular movies, it has horror movies. Like it has a whole bunch of like genre. I think someone had mentioned that does it have kid movies? It doesn't just have kid movies. It has all different type of movies and it's free. Nerd Report's asking what movie? Didn't you ask about Maniac Cop? We were talking about that. I know, Matthew. I laugh when I see Bruce Campbell. Wendy's like free for now. Yeah. Yeah. True. Nerd Report's asking what's on Tubi. Matthew said Maniac Cop is on there. Lisa Boo's asking, have you seen the Krampus parade in Vienna? It's so cool. No, I've heard of it, but no, I haven't seen it. I love Krampus. I love Krampus. When I talk about the legend of Krampus, and I'm like, damn. Krampus is so cool. I have like 2 shirts with Krampus on it. Go for it, Wendy. If you don't like it, you can always cancel it. Just to check it out. Sometimes you got to check things out to see if you like it. And she's asking if she should add Hulu. Oh, you know what? I'll do this one. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. This. Chris loves Hulu. I mean, you also get the Hulu. You also get like the Fox programming on it, like the TV, like the Fox TV show. Like I don't know if you guys watch Family Guy, but Family Guy's on there. Give me a second, guys. I don't like the Shelly. That's right. Just add the cheap version to see if you like it, and then if you don't, you can always cancel it. So this is the terrifying truth about Connecticut's Zaffis Paranormal Museum. John Zaffis, the nephew of Ed and Lorraine Warren, 2 of the most well-known figures in paranormal investigation. The more I read about them, the more I feel like they were frauds. has carved out his own niche in the world of the unexplained. Over the years, he's built a reputation for himself, especially with his Museum of the Paranormal, located in a 2-story building behind his house in Stratford, Connecticut. The museum is home to a fascinating and sometimes chilling collections of items from Zaffis' decades of paranormal research. Some of the objects come from cases he worked on, while others have been handed over by other investigators or even people just looking to rid their homes of haunted items. The collection is incredibly diverse, featuring everything from a seemingly innocent china set and a painting of a clown on velvet to much darker, more unsettling pieces like tribal masks and a ventriloquist dummy that may give anyone the creeps. According to Atlas Obscura, each item in the museum is said to be cleansed before it's displayed, though that doesn't mean it's lost any of its potentially disturbing energy. Among the most intriguing pieces are a black cast iron human skull found hidden in a secret compartment in the home of a political family, a black idol reportedly used in dark magic rituals, and a sword believed to have been involved in satanic ceremonies. Zaffis Museum gives an unsettling look at the world of paranormal investigations, showcasing objects that are tied to some of the most bizarre and disturbing experiences he's encountered over the years. Whether you're a skeptic or true believer, stepping into the museum is like entering a world where the line between the natural and supernatural is much thinner than you'd ever expect. I don't consider myself to be scared of a lot of things, but put me down for creepy dolls possibly possessed by demons, and clowns. I hate them both. I don't play around with any of that. I love creepy dolls. I'm like the complete opposite. Bring on the clowns and creepy dolls. A few years back, there was a local Connecticut event where you could get up close and personal with the Annabelle doll. People kept asking me if I wanted to go, and the answer was a definite no. I made a lot of dumb decisions in my life, but you'll never see me in a room with that thing. I guess this is one of the things that he has in there, which is a clown looking thing. That thing is cool. What are you talking about? But Ozzy Walks, what is up? Juilliard goes, I think they were fakes. I'm on board with you. Like I said, the more I read about Lorraine and Ed Warren, I used to be like everyone else, because whenever you mention Ed and Lorraine Warren, you're like, oh my God, they were legends. Oh my God, they did the Amityville investigation. They did the Conjuring House. They did this. But no. Once you see between the lines, it's more going toward that they were frauds. Wendy goes, I'll film you and I'll walk into. Kyle goes, it's no goosebump mask, but they're still cool. Carol goes, although it would be cool to see, it would be cool to see. Carol also said, I'm not a fan of clowns, but it would be cool to see. And Carol shared an interesting video, but it was a video, and I can't really show videos here on YouTube because they will strike me down, or they'll try to strike me down. But I did, and it was about Maximum Overdrive. I have to visit this movie because I don't think I've ever seen it. But I did find an article to go with what Carol. Sorry, Shelley, it's because I saw your name. Shared. So this is 10 wild things fans don't know about Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive. It's been on my list. I just haven't had a chance to watch it. Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive is one page in response of what? It remains the only movie King has ever directed, and the experience was as chaotic and wild as the film itself. Adapted from his short story, Trucks, the film tells the story of machines turning against humans after a comet passed by Earth. While it's a cult classic for many, the film's production was fraught with challenges, controversies, and unexpected twists that even the most dedicated King fans might not know about. From casting choices that never happened to on-set accidents, the making of Maximum Overdrive is as much a horror story as the film itself. This chaotic production was marked by a combination of creative ambition and personal struggles for King. While the film has been criticized for its over-the-top nature, it's also a fascinating glimpse into King's mind during one of the most tumultuous periods of his life. And for some odd reason, Stephen King really wanted Bruce Springsteen to star. How many of you guys have seen Maximum Overdrive? I have not. Matthew goes, another awesome film I like. I'm sure it says things I already know. Carol goes, poor Stephen King in that movie. Matthew also said a lot of gore was cut out of the film because of the MPAA being hard on the film. Julie goes, I think I saw that a long time ago. If it's what I'm thinking of. Stephen King originally envisioned Maximum Overdrive with rock legend Bruce Springsteen in the lead role. King, a huge fan of Springsteen, thought he would bring the right amount of grit and charisma to the part of Bill Robinson. However, the studio ultimately decided to cast Emilio Estevez instead, believing a Hollywood actor would be a safer bet at the box office, while Estevez delivered a memorable presence. It just sounds weird when I'm saying it. Fans can only wonder what the film would have been like with Springsteen at the helm. This casting decision is a fascinating what if in the world of film. Bruce Springsteen had never acted in a major film and was considered almost unknown at the time in Hollywood, and Maximum Overdrive could have been his big screen debut. Sadly, Springsteen's involvement never materialized. Stephen King had certainly tried his best to make it happen. The cinematographer lost his eye in a horrific accident. Dinner Girl goes, Maximum Overdrive was awesome. Watch it, Lisa. You will like it. I'm definitely going to put it. It's been on my list. I just haven't had a chance to go down my list because I got a pretty big list. The production of Maximum Overdrive was marred by a tragic accident when cinematographer Armando Nanuzzi lost his eye. During the filming of a scene involving a runaway lawnmower, the machine unexpectedly veered off course and struck a block of wood, sending it flying into Nanuzzi's face. The impact was severe, resulting in the loss of his eye. Nanuzzi later sued Stephen King and the production company for $18 million, eventually settling the case out of court. I mean, that happens. I'm sure when they film, they have insurance. Do they have insurance when they film these things? For stuff like this, just in case something like this happens? Nanuzzi reasonably felt that things were too chaotic and dangerous on set and that safety protocols were not adequately enforced. This tragic accident left a dark mark in the film's legacy and serves as a sobering reminder of the potential risks involved in filmmaking. Despite the incident, Nanuzzi continued his career in cinematography, but he will never forget what happened to him on that set. Shelley goes, they should have insurance. Juliara goes, they are supposed to always have insurance. Leonora goes, ask the Twilight Zone movie, those poor kids. Leonora, what is up? Oh, I know. I think I read about it on a previous stream and I was like, it's sad. Matthew goes, King was on powdered sugar, if you know what I mean, when he made this film. Stephen King was, yes, Matthew, that's the next thing, was on powdered sugar throughout production. Stephen King has been open about his struggle with substance abuse, particularly during the 1980s. By his own admission, King was using the powdered sugar heavily while directing Maximum Overdrive, which undoubtedly influenced the film's chaotic and frenetic energy. In the book, Hollywood's Stephen King, he said that he was out of his mind on the powdered sugar throughout its production, and he really didn't know what he was doing. King's drug use during the making of Maximum Overdrive is often cited as a reason for the film's erratic tone and over-the-top scenes. It's a period in King's life that he later regretted, and he has distanced himself from the film in the years since its release. It's like with Depeche Mode. There's one album that all the songs are really like dark. It's completely different, like Just Can't Get Enough song. I always say Just Can't Get It Up with that song, but you know how like Depeche Mode has that Just Can't Get Enough, like those, poppy, energetic, lifting type of songs. And then there's that one album where it's like super dark. And I feel like that was the time like they were using, drugs. And it's weird how that can affect you. Yeah. Rock legends AC/DC provided the entire soundtrack. One of the most iconic aspects of Maximum Overdrive is its soundtrack, which features the hard-hitting music of AC/DC. AC/DC has been no stranger to pop culture throughout their careers, and their addition to multiple fandoms have always been iconic. Stephen King personally approached the band to provide the film's score, resulting in the album Who Made Who, which serves as the movie's soundtrack. AC/DC's music perfectly complements the film's high-octane action and contributes to its cult status among fans of both King and the band. The collaboration between King and AC/DC is one of the highlights of the film, blending rock and horror in a way that has never been done before. I think that's kind of a thing now, rock and horror in movies. The band's involvement gives Maximum Overdrive an extra layer of cool. They also add techno in movies too. Even if the movie itself received mixed reviews, the soundtrack remains one of the most memorable aspects of the film, and the album on its own is a headbanger. Matthew goes, you could tell he was on it when you watched the movie trailer. I would definitely check it out. Carol goes, a lot of music artists have at least one dark song or album. Very true. Very true. Wendy goes, some artists can't perform without the D's. Carol goes, I want the truck. Matthew also adds there's an AC/DC score in the film that has not been released. Would be nice if they did. Oh yeah, that would be cool. The film was nominated for Worst Director at the Razzie Awards. Despite Stephen King's success as a novelist, his directorial debut was not well received. Maximum Overdrive earned King a nomination for Worst Director at the Golden Raspberry Awards, which are the Razzies, in 1987. The film was criticized for its over-the-top direction, uneven tone, and sometimes incoherent plot. King himself has admitted that he was not the best person to direct the film, joking that it was a movie made by someone on D's. The Razzie nomination is a reflection of the critical reception the film received upon its release, even if the film doesn't deserve it. While it has since gained a cult following, at the time, Maximum Overdrive was considered a low point in King's career. The Razzie nomination served as a reminder that even a master storyteller like King can struggle when stepping into a new role like directing. Wendy goes, oh, the royalties, cha-ching. Kyle goes, the Green Goblin truck. Matthew goes, someone made a recreation of the whole Happy Toys truck that goes to shows. The head blown up at the end is restored, goes to conventions. Carol goes, they only had the one truck for the entire film. Wow, that's crazy. It's the only film Stephen King ever directed. Maximum Overdrive holds the unique distinction of being the only film that Stephen King has ever directed. After the experience, King vowed never to direct again, and he has kept the promise. The challenges and pressure of filmmaking, combined with the substance abuse issues at the time, led King to decide that directing wasn't for him. He had since expressed regret over how the film turned out, calling it a moron movie in interviews from the book Hollywood Stephen King. This film is a rare glimpse into what King's vision looked like when he's in complete creative control, for better or worse. While the movie may not have been a critical success, it remains an interesting experience in King's career. The fact that King never directed another film adds to Maximum Overdrive's mystique and solidifies its place in horror history. Carol also adds there was 2 of the goblin head and one was restored and the other is rotting away in someone's yard. Chris Barber goes, there was another movie called Trucks. The original short story was much simpler. Maximum Overdrive is based on Stephen King's short story called Trucks, which was published in the 1978 collection Night Shift. The original story is much simpler, focusing on a group of people trapped in a truck stopped by sentient trucks. The film expanded on the premise, adding a variety of other killer machines and a more complex plot, which this made for a more action-packed movie. Some fans feel that the simplicity of the original story was lost in translation. The divergent from the source material is common in King adaptations, but in this case, the expansion may have contributed to the film's lack of focus. The short story's tight claustrophobic narrative was stretched into a feature-length film, which may have diluted its impact. Stephen King made a cameo appearance. He makes a cameo appearance in every single one of his things. Because every movie I've seen that's been an adaptation of one of his books, he's made an appearance. He's also, I think he's also in what the heck is that movie? I can't think of it. It's not Tales of the Crypt, but it's that other one. What is that other film? I cannot think. I'm brain farting. I am totally brain farting. Kyle goes, Demon. No, it wasn't Demon Night. It was like the one that where it opens up. I don't think it's not Tales from the Crypt. It's where it opens up. It's like a comic book and it's different stories. Like there's the demon in the crate story, and then there's the people that at the end they end up buried in the sand at the beach with I think he's the one in that one. Creep Show. Thank you, Matthew. Creep Show. Creep Show. I love Creep Show. I had a brain fart right there. And I clicked off of it. So Stephen King makes cameos in a lot of films, so it's no surprise that he made a cameo appearance in Maximum Overdrive. He plays a man at an ATM who is shocked when the machine starts calling him obscenities. While the machine revolts, the little Easter egg has become one of the best moments of the film for fans. On top of that, he has one line in the movie is maybe its most iconic. This small role adds to the film's campy, self-aware tone, and it's a fun detail for fans who enjoy spotting King in his adaptations. While his directing may not have been successful, his cameo in Maximum Overdrive is a reminder of his playful side and his willingness to engage with his audience in unexpected ways. The film's budget, because I know Wendy was asking earlier about the film's budget, was $10 million. Maximum Overdrive was produced on a budget of $10 million, which was relatively modest for the time. However, given the film's special effects stunts and the involvement of a major rock band for the soundtrack, it's impressive how much was accomplished with the resources available. Unfortunately, the film only grossed about $7.4 million at the box office, making it a commercial disappointment. The budget constraints may have contributed to some of the film's rough edges, but they also highlight the ambition of the project. King and his team managed to create a movie that, for all its flaws, is packed with action and memorable moments. I don't know why I feel like I'm saying that wrong. The budgetary limitations also make the film eventual cult status all the more impressive, as it has managed to endure despite its initial commercial failure. Leonard goes, Mr. King even showed up to the TV movie adaptations. Kyle remembers this machine called me an a-hole. Gunner Girl, which we're going to get into, the film crew for Maximum Overdrive had permission from Marvel to use the Green Goblin face. So this, yes, the head of the truck is the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. One of the most memorable visual elements of Maximum Overdrive is the menacing Green Goblin head mounted on the front of the main truck, which terrorizes the characters throughout the movie. The striking design was a nod to King's love for comic book Spider-Man in this case, and added an extra layer of surreal horror to the film. The Green Goblin's head, which with its eerie grin and glowing eyes, became an iconic symbol of the movie, even though it had no direct connection to the story's plot or themes. The choice to use the Green Goblin, a well-known Marvel comic villain, was unusual and gave the truck an instant recognizable and unsettling appearance. It's one of the elements that helped Maximum Overdrive maintain its cult status over the years. Sorry. As fans continue to remember the eerie sight of the goblin-faced truck barreling down on its victims, the Green Goblin's head, restored in all of its glory, even goes on tours to comic book conventions, which Matthew had mentioned earlier in the chat. This particular prop has become a lasting piece of pop culture, and fans from all over the country flock to events to get a chance to see it, or even take home a piece of restoration dust complete with a certificate of authenticity. That is kind of cool. As you hear me drinking loudly. Kyle goes, memorable. Thank you. Memorable. There. I don't know why. I was like, I could not say it. Memorable. I was saying it wrong. I was like, I knew I was saying it wrong, but I just could not say it. I was getting tongue twisted on memorable. Go figure. I am definitely going to put that movie on my list of movies to watch, because I have never seen it. And it's weird that that one got away, because I usually do watch Stephen King movies. And I grew up on Stephen King movies. So it's kind of weird how that one eluded me. All right, guys, I am going to open it up for questions. If any of y'all have questions, I'll give you a few minutes to look for Skeleduck. I usually say this at the beginning, but I forgot to say it. If you don't know who or what I'm talking about, Skeleduck is pictured in my upper left-hand corner, might be your upper right-hand corner. That is what he looks like. I hide him in the studio. Doesn't matter which studio I am. It's kind of hard to hide him in this one because there's not many hiding places. But he is in here. Just remind me. I'll give you a few more minutes. If I do forget, just remind me. Matthew goes trivia. The Simpsons did an episode called Maximum Homer Drive. That is cool. Kyle goes, speaking of goblins, 90s Spider-Man cartoon had Neil Ross for Green Goblin and Mark Hamill as Hobgoblin. Pretty cool. And William Dafoe played it in the newer Spider-Man, or one of the Spider-Mans. Carol goes, that's another one I've not seen. I've heard The Green Mile is really good. That's another one I haven't seen. But she says Stephen King's books, The Green Mile was awesome and the movie was good too. I think that one, didn't The Green Mile, it won an award, didn't it? I think too. Leonora's asking, what am I doing on Turkey Day? I think I have to go into work for 2 hours. And then not much, because Turkey Day is more of a meat eater holiday, and I'm not a meat eater. Wendy goes, I need a game to play with the parentals for Thanksgiving. Wendy, do you have Dominoes? Dominoes is fun. I haven't played a game like that in a long time. Because I got to take care of the unless I can find someone to cover, which I have to ask. I haven't asked. I keep forgetting to ask. But it's to take care of the animals and give them their medication at the center. So I may have to go in, but I keep forgetting to ask them. But I don't mind. It's to go in because when on my days off I miss all the animals. Kyle goes, and the great Jennifer Hale is Black Cat. I'm more of a DC fan than I am a Marvel fan, so I don't know. I'm not too familiar. I mean, I know who Spider-Man is, and I know Green Goblin, but the other characters I'm not too familiar with. Matthew goes, I see the peeking skeledeck. I'll give you a few more minutes to check it out. And then after that, I'm probably going to I'm streaming too. I forgot. It's Thursday. I'm going to have a stream. It's going to be all about Thanksgiving. I have some Thanksgiving stories that I've searched. I'm probably going to get some more because I know in the coming days there's going to be some more news articles that'll pop up. Yes, Chris, I'm an adoption center manager. It's a no-kill nonprofit. It basically there are a few people that do get paid through there, but it is a no-kill shelter nonprofit. They have 4 locations here. I manage one of the locations, and they depend heavily on donations and volunteer help. A lot of the volunteers that do go through my center are high school students. So it's more concentrated with high school students than the other centers, which is not a bad thing. Thank you, Lisa Boo and Chris. Yeah, Wendy, it's adopting fur babies. So I have we have all kinds of dogs. I think I've got 20 dogs. I didn't count. There's 20 dogs and I think about the same cats, kittens and cats, teenage kittens. I have a teenage kitten there. Now, I have an old man kitten. I feel so bad. Cat. He's not a kitten, but cat. I feel so bad for him. Because he kind of just hides. I always try to give him some attention because he hides. He's blind in one eye, and I feel like no one will adopt him, but you never know. There might be someone looking for an older cat to give them a home. Nerder Perko's 20 dogs, all taking them home. No, I want to, but I can't. I know some of the centers have bunnies. I call him the old man cat. His name's Harold. He has a fitting name. He kind of just he was on the because we have them in like cubicle condos. They call them condos. Where you could close the door, and he was on the ground part of it, and I was like, bro, you deserve a blanket. Come on, old man. So I think people are afraid to touch him. I'm not afraid to touch him. So I kind of moved him a little bit and put him on the blanket. So he can at least have a blanket. I was like, you're an old man. You need a blanket. Lisa Boo goes, I get really attached to animals. I volunteer at a rescue here. I love every single one of the dogs I have at the center. I love them to bits. I have one. One of them just got adopted the other day. She was a little Chihuahua. She was one of my favorites. And then there was another one. He was a Schnauzer mix, the sweetest dog. He was my buddy. And then another one yesterday got adopted, and he was my buddy. Whenever he saw me, he would always have his toy in his mouth, and I was like, "Oh, you're showing me your toy?" My other buddy, he's still there. He's a little Chihuahua Dausch, like a wiener dog kind of mix. And then I'm trying to, because we have this terrier. I have a thing for terrier, like a soft spot for terrier. We have a terrier that they named Oscar, and he's scared. And I feel so bad. He won't even come out for the volunteers or anything. So I try to pick him up and take him out. And I try to be like, come on, you got sunshine. You don't have to be afraid of me. I'm trying to give him some human interaction so he's not scared anymore. I've had people ask about him, but I tell him the truth. I go, look, he's going to need a lot of patience. He's very skittish, even around me. But I could get him out because I'll pick him up, and once he gets on the grass, he'll run around, but you have to pick him up. But every time you go into his cubicle, he goes like this, and I feel so bad for him. And he's only like six months old. Lisa Boo goes, I had a fox terrier named Ratsu. That is cool. Julissa goes, I'm glad they're getting adopted for sure. I agree, Wendy. I think he was the brother of another dog that we have, and he was also shy. He's still shy around people, but not as bad. And I think he was the brother of Oscar. His name's Oliver. Sweetest dog. He's a little more, because another she's kind of like another manager. She covers for me when I'm not there. She worked with him, and now he's kind of friendly, like he'll come out now. But we found a BB in him when they were doing his neuter surgery. They found a BB in him. So if Oscar is the brother of Oliver, now I understand. I can imagine if that poor dog had a BB in him, what they both went through. But hopefully, I'm fairly new to it. Just trying to get to learn like all the. I'm even giving vaccines, and I was like, what the heck? I didn't even think I would be doing that. I did one. I finally did it. I felt like I every time I do it, I'm like, yes. The people are probably like, what the hell? But I gave a vaccine to a puppy, and of course, the two puppies that came in are like Chihuahuas. So they have very thin, they don't have any fat on their side when they were that, because that's where they, and I was like, but this last one I did much better. So I'm getting, because I'm thinking to myself, the only way I'll get to do it is if I practice. And so Matthew goes, dang, been there because we had a cat in the neighborhood I fed for a while. Someone shot it with that's sad. It's sad. We do get some animals that have been mistreated. We have one, I guess she came in. We got her the other day, and I was like, she looks like she's been burned. Cause she's a poodle mix, Maltese poodle mix, I think, or poodle mix. And she looked like she was burned. So the next day, because I got her toward closing, so the next day I looked her up, and I guess she was severely matted. So when they shaved her, they saw that she had all these wounds on her because she was a stray. And she was on medication, but now she's not. So I was like, whoa. No, because we, Lisa Boo, we don't directly take the animals from the shelters or from the street. We just, I do get a lot of people that do come in, you know, saying, hey, I found this dog, and they'll come in with the dog, but we don't take them directly from the streets because, we don't know whose dog that belongs to. We don't know if it was a ex trying to get rid of an ex's dog. and just giving us the story. So what we tell them is to go to the shelter. The shelter puts them on a 14-day hold. After the 14-day hold, we have a crew that they reach out to us, and a crew, not myself, goes out and picks up these various animals. And then I think they check them out, and then they'll send it to the different centers. Yeah, so we do, it is technically quarantine because all the animals we do have are microchipped and they have their vaccines. So we don't want to bring a dog off the street that could be potentially sick and cause everyone else to get sick. And I know there's some other shelters that do directly take them in, but they probably do have different procedures for that. But it's a fun job. I don't even feel like I'm working when I go, to be honest with you. It's a fun, it's, I feel like I'm blessed, to be honest with you, because I don't feel like it's a job. And then the people that I do have to deal with, it's not bad. Everyone's really nice. Even the public is really nice. They're not, you don't get that disgruntled person. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll get one eventually, but I haven't. All right, guys, real quick. Skeleduck is right sticking out behind. I didn't have much hiding spaces, guys, so I'm running out of options. But he is right there where my fingers, he's like kind of above my head, right, peeking out from the Pennywise cereal. And it's kind of funny that we were talking about Stephen King and Pennywise is here. So he's right there. You could see his beak peeking out. Wendy goes, that's not fair. Carol, one of these days, I'm going to get you. You too, Matthew. Matthew pretty much gets it all the time too, as well. All right, guys, any last minute questions before I end the stream? Lisa Boo, I will. Thank you, Lisa. Been a great show. You should keep us updated with the animals, please. I will, Lisa Boo. Matthew's like, well, I have a 55-inch TV. Carol goes, the little alien dude is laying on the job. Oh, he is. He's like, he's hanging off the edge. Carol's on a 17-inch laptop. So I have the one that I stream with in my studio is a 17-inch. All right, guys, any last minute questions? Thank you, Gunner Girl. Thank you, Julissa. I appreciate that. All right, guys, without further ado, I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Grayson Report. I will see you on the next one. And yes, I am streaming on Thanksgiving. I will see you at the next one. It should be about the same time. I'm going to say 7 p.m.-ish, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time-ish. On Thanksgiving, I do have some Thanksgiving stories that I'm going to talk about riled up for you guys. So be there, be squared, stay spooky, guys, and sweet nightmares. And I will see you on the next one. Good night, guys. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week if I don't see you Thursday. Good night, guys.